encampments in Reno have been a concern for years, but there's a new push to improve this problem. Ben Deach is here with us with a look at the deadly efforts to increase outreach, the daily efforts, I should say, to increase outreach, and the new ordinance impacting downtown.
Tonight in Reno, Nevada, the streets are no longer merely a public thoroughfare. They have become the epicenter of a profound economic and social rupture. The 4th Street corridor looks less like a road and more like a permanent mobile neighborhood. Dozens of RVs are packed into a single mile-and-a-half stretch. Generators hum incessantly, tires are flat, and windows are often shattered, yet they are fully occupied, sustaining human life. Across the city, more than 1,200 RVs are now being used as homes, a staggering 340% surge in just 2 years. What is happening in Reno is not a mystery, nor is it a simple local misfortune. It is math. When housing costs outpace working wages at an unsustainable rate, when punitive enforcement replaces necessary, proven infrastructure, and when municipal policy lags fatally behind economic reality, a systemic collapse is inevitable. The same merciless mathematics that trapped this city in a cycle of perpetual motion. And poverty is already at work, relentlessly, where you live. The only question isn't whether this crisis is coming to your city. It is how terrifyingly close it already is. You are witnessing the blueprint for breakdown. The sequence of failure began in early 2023. The RV industry was in freefall. Pandemic-era buyers who financed $40,000 motor homes at high interest rates were suddenly confronted with the impossible reality. They could no longer afford the payments, the insurance, the non-negotiable maintenance, and the storage fees all at once. Repossession rates hit levels not seen since the 2008 financial crisis. Used RV lots across the West were overwhelmed with inventory they could not move. Dealerships started selling units at massive losses just to clear space for the wave of repos that kept arriving daily. Nevada, specifically Reno, became the logical, final destination for these displaced vehicles and people. The city offered immediate proximity to Sacramento.
Well, the CARES campus has helped the homeless issue since it opened in 2021, but that isn't the only thing, as daily efforts are continuing to be made.
And the Bay Area accessible for those looking to escape California's housing costs, while simultaneously suffering from its own acute affordability collapse. Median rent for a 2-bedroom apartment reached $1,890 per month by mid-2023. The math stopped working at a very specific inflection point. Take someone earning $21 per hour working full-time. Their monthly take-home income is roughly $2,900. Rent at $1,890 consumes nearly 2/3 of that, leaving barely $1. Zero for everything else: vehicle payment, insurance, fuel, food, utilities, medical expenses, everything. One unexpected expense, one rent increase, and the stability collapses entirely. This created a massive, desperate market. Between March 2023 and November 2024, used RV sales in the Reno-Sparks metro area surged by 231%. These were not recreational buyers. They were people buying the cheapest form of enclosed shelter available to them, desperately hoping to keep working, keep their kids in school, and avoid sleeping on the street. By late 2024, certain areas of Reno had become de facto RV zones. The 4th Street corridor, Sutro Street, and the East 2nd Street industrial area attracted families and workers seeking invisibility and proximity to necessary public transit. The city's response was a predictable failure: enforcement without infrastructure, citation, towing, displacement, move every 72 hours, or lose everything you own. No designated parking areas, no dump stations, no public restrooms open after 8 p.m. Just constant motion, mounting fines, and the perpetual threat of impound. That approach worked when the problem was small. It completely broke down when the population quintupled in 18 months, triggering 7 distinct, predictable failures that cascaded into total system collapse. We trace the stages of this collapse, which are identical to patterns already documented in Spokane, Phoenix, and Sacramento suburbs, providing a clear warning that this breakdown is predictable, repeatable, and currently beginning in other mid-market western cities.
Rangers say they always make a point to tell these people about all the different options they have, the CARES Compass being the most obvious, but there's also the Women and Family Shelter operated by RISE and the Eddie House program. Denise?
Thank you for that report, Ben. Coming up.
Understanding what happened in Reno requires seeing the crisis not as one problem, but as 7 interconnected failures, each one reinforcing the others until the city's infrastructure and services could no longer function. Stage 1, the repo avalanche and the inventory dump. The systemic failure began at the dealership lots, far before the RVs hit Reno's streets. Repo overflow hit Reno hard because of Nevada's concentration of RV dealerships, serving California buyers. When repossession rates spiked in 2023, dealers were overwhelmed. Inventory that cost them $35,000 wholesale was selling for $18,000 or sitting unsold, accumulating massive storage fees. Dealers, desperate to clear lots, resorted to offering seller financing with minimal credit checks. They sold units they knew had deferred maintenance, failing systems, and limited remaining lifespan. Buyers who couldn't qualify for traditional loans often because they were recently evicted or had poor credit suddenly had access to vehicles they couldn't actually afford to maintain. Within 6 months of purchase, many were living in rapidly deteriorating RVs, trapped in depreciating assets that became financial anchors instead of solutions. Stage 2, the parking catastrophe and the 72-hour lie. Reno's street network was designed for passenger cars and managed commerce, not residential vehicles. Reno has approximately 463 miles of public streets, but only about 18 miles allow vehicles over 22 feet to park legally overnight. RV parks and campgrounds, charging $1,300 to $2,500 per month, were instantly disqualified. Storage facilities cost $200 to $400 monthly. The only remaining option was the public street, subject to the 72-hour rotation. When the population exploded, enforcement became mathematically impossible. The city's 11 parking enforcement officers could not track 1,200 vehicles moving every 3 days. Concentration happened immediately. People found the areas where enforcement was lightest and clustered there. Those clusters then triggered neighborhood complaints, which triggered selective enforcement sweeps, which scattered people temporarily before they immediately regrouped nearby. People weren't parking, they were circling, constantly moving, never stable, never legal, never safe. This futile, expensive movement became the city's primary non-solution. Stage 3, the sanitation nightmare and public health threat. The concentration of vehicles immediately created a sanitation nightmare. RVs require 3 functional systems: fresh water, gray water, and black water disposal. A conservative household requires dumping and refilling every 5 to 7 days. Reno has exactly to public RV dump stations accessible without paying prohibitive campground fees, both miles away from the main concentration areas. Forcing people into improvisation became policy. Gray water gets dumped in storm drains, causing contamination. Black water gets dumped in industrial areas or along river banks. Trash accumulates because there is no regular service. The environmental and public health consequences were exactly what experts warned about. Waterway contamination, increased rates of preventable diseases like hepatitis A, and unsanitary conditions that created legitimate public health emergencies. the city had no plan to address. The infrastructure failure was not just inconvenient, it was systematically creating disease. Stage 4, the enforcement void and safety collapse. As the population grew, the agencies responsible for public safety discovered their own breaking point. Washoe County Sheriff's Office received 4,600 RV-related calls in 2024, up from 1,700 the year before, ranging from noise complaints to theft, domestic violence, and fire hazards. Response prioritization became inevitable. Non-emergency RV calls started getting downgraded. Response times lengthened. Officers began avoiding certain concentrations because of safety concerns, lack of backup, or simply because they'd been to the same location repeatedly with no resolution. The fire department experienced similar patterns, with structure fire calls to RV locations increasing by 183%. These often involved electrical fires from overloaded generators or propane explosions from faulty systems. Responding to RV fires in dense encampments poses extreme risks, especially when vehicles are packed closely together and filled with volatile materials. Some areas effectively became de facto no-response zones without official policy ever stating it. The system was simply overwhelmed by reality. Stage 5, the budget black hole and wasteful spending. Reno spent $2.4 million on RV-related enforcement, sweeps, and cleanup in 2024. That breaks down to approximately $2,000 per RV per year, just in direct costs. This money was spent on towing, impound storage costing $75 to $150 per day, police overtime, public works crews, and legal processing. And at the end of every sweep, exactly 0 people get housed. The city is spending exponentially increasing amounts, solving nothing, while simultaneously claiming it doesn't have the budget for actual solutions. Every dollar spent on towing is a dollar not spent on infrastructure that might actually transition people into stability. Enforcement allows the illusion that the problem can be eliminated through citation and displacement. Stage 6, the community rupture and political paralysis. The city's financial waste created severe division. Neighborhoods with high RV concentrations began organizing pressure campaigns, demanding immediate removal. Trust in city government collapsed on both sides. The city found itself caught between residents demanding aggressive enforcement and advocates pointing out that sweeps simply relocated people without solving anything. The political gridlock became absolute, ensuring the crisis would continue worsening while any meaningful response became impossible. Every neighborhood wanted the RVs gone, but no neighborhood wanted designated parking areas nearby. Stage 7, the silent surrender. In that absolute gridlock, the city made the choice of silent surrender. By late 2024, Reno had tacitly established zones where RV dwelling was tolerated despite official policy. Claiming otherwise, enforcement in these areas became sporadic or non-existent. Emergency response slowed or stopped. The city maintained public rhetoric about zero tolerance while privately acknowledging it lacked resources to do anything about concentrations in industrial areas. This created a dangerous precedent where official law and actual practice diverged completely. The collapse was complete. The city had simultaneously criminalized vehicle dwelling everywhere, while accepting it in specific zones, satisfying nobody while costing everyone. The most profound policy failure is the budget black hole. The $2.4 million Reno spent on enforcement could have achieved significant stability if redirected. Every dollar spent on towing is a dollar not spent on infrastructure that might actually transition people into stability. The criminalization of vehicle dwelling is fiscally senseless. The $2,000 per RV per year in direct enforcement costs yields 0 housed people. The city's investment in tickets and tows is, effectively, an investment in maintaining social chaos. The fiscal absurdity of uncollected fines. The system of fines is designed to punish, not correct. because it functions on the false assumption that people have resources. Unpaid parking tickets, often starting at $75, quickly accumulate, leading to several devastating outcomes. Warrants, unpaid fines stack up into legal warrants for arrest. License suspension. Warrants and unpaid fines lead to suspended driver's licenses. Job loss. With a suspended license, people are forced to drive illegally just to get to work. A single traffic stop means immediate arrest and immediate loss of the vehicle impound, guaranteeing job loss and total destitution. The city spends immense resources processing these citations, knowing they will not be paid, simply to create the legal grounds for seizure and arrest later. This is an investment in creating barriers to employment and housing, not solving the crisis. The policy-induced barriers to stability. The reality of the policy-induced barriers is devastating. The repair trap. The average age of an RV in these populations is nearly 20 years. When a $5,000 repair is needed, the working poor cannot afford it. The vehicle stops moving, violating the 72-hour rule, and becomes an impound target. The no-response zone. Police and fire response slowing in RV concentrated areas means that legitimate emergencies, fires, medical crises, domestic violence are met with delay, increasing human cost and long-term public expense. The lost asset. The city's investment in tickets and tows is, ultimately, an investment in the permanent destruction of shelter. Every dollar spent on towing is a dollar spent ensuring the individual is permanently unhoused, without even the minimal protection of a vehicle. The ultimate moral failure of the enforcement-first model is that it prefers the appearance of order, the cleared street, to the actual human resolution of the crisis. The national warning and predictability. The 7-stage collapse documented in Reno is a predictable, repeatable systemic breakdown. It is a clear warning to other mid-market cities. Reno checked every box by early 2023. Rapid cost of living increases without corresponding wage growth. Proximity to overflow population. California. Available RV inventory from industry collapse. No safe parking infrastructure. Enforcement first policy approach. The collapse wasn't a question of if, it was when and how fast. The answer was 18 months from a manageable situation to complete breakdown. The same conditions are currently accelerating in Las Vegas outskirts, North Las Vegas, Henderson, Salt Lake Valley suburbs, Boise perimeter areas. Vehicle homelessness is not primarily about individual failure. It's about economic mathematics. When housing costs reach 70% to 80% of median income, vehicle dwelling becomes the logical mathematical outcome for thousands of people simultaneously. Every city currently entering these conditions faces the same choice Reno faced in 2023. Acknowledge this as a housing crisis requiring infrastructure investment or default to enforcement, and watch the same 7-stage collapse unfold. The critical point is that the solutions are not experimental. They are cost-effective, proven models that are currently gathering dust while the city pours millions into failure. 1. The Sacramento, Eugene model: safe parking and designated zones. Sacramento operates 3 safe parking programs within 80 miles of Reno, providing legal overnight parking, bathroom access, security presence, and case management. Success rate: over 81% transition into stable housing within 18 months. Cost: approximately $4,800 per participant annually. This is an investment in human capital that yields stable, tax-paying residents. Eugene established designated RV parking zones in industrial areas, with basic infrastructure: water filling stations, dump sites, and trash collection. Cost: roughly $1,000 to $100 per space annually to maintain. This prevents the public health nightmare of illegal dumping. Reno spent nearly 10 times the cost of the Eugene model on enforcement last year. The city is literally funding its own public health crisis by refusing to install $1,000 to $100 dump stations. 2. The Phoenix, LA model master lease and triage. Phoenix developed a master lease program where the city partners with nonprofits to lease entire apartment complexes. Units are subleased to families transitioning from vehicles. Key features: no credit checks. Participants pay 30% of current income toward rent. Retention rate exceeds 77% after 2 years. Cost roughly $9,000 per family annually. The national models are clear. Investment in supportive infrastructure yields stable housing. The city could implement all these program models simultaneously: safe parking lots, repair assistance, and subsidized RV park spaces for a combined annual cost of approximately $6 million. That is less than the city currently spends on enforcement, and it would actually house people, instead of just relocating them. The political roadmap: policy changes that cost nothing. The essential policy reforms require no new funding, only political courage. To reverse counterproductive regulations, eliminate the 72-hour rule for anyone enrolled in case management. This stops the debilitating motion and allows people to build stability for employment and health management. Designate specific zones for legal overnight parking. Utilize existing municipal lots, areas beneath elevated highways, or industrial zones that sit empty after business hours. This costs nothing but requires amending zoning codes. Install basic public infrastructure. Mandate water filling stations, RV waste dump stations, and additional public restrooms that operate beyond standard business hours. This $100,000 investment prevents millions in public health crises. Stop criminalizing survival. Eliminate parking fines and warrants for vehicles being used as primary residences by people enrolled in case management. The fines don't generate revenue. They just create warrants, suspended licenses, and insurmountable barriers to employment. The roadmap exists. The proof exists. The local capacity exists. What doesn't exist is the political courage to implement solutions that work instead of enforcement. That fails expensively. Reno's trajectory is neither sustainable nor humane. It is the mathematically predictable result of a political failure to address economic reality. The problem is the systemic collapse, the inability to tow, the refusal to store, and the policy void that creates only legal uncertainty. The $2.4 million wasted budget is a monument to a failure of policy imagination. The working poor deserve stability, and the city has the financial means to provide it by simply redirecting its wasted spending. The choice is now the city's. Will they continue the expensive, futile policy of the 24-hour shuffle, or will they implement the solutions that save money and save lives? The path is clear. The decision is now a moral one.